Today's presentation is called Smart Denture Conversion, New System for All-on-4 Same-Day Conversions, brought to you by Dora Rodriguez. She's a technician, DDC instructor, and a specialist in all-on-4 conversions. We just want to thank our sponsors, Chairside Lab Solutions, for supporting dental education. This presentation is interactive, so feel free to ask questions in the comment sections as I will be looking out for them. Now let's get right into it. Dora, thank you for doing this. Welcome once again. Take it
Hi.
away. How
All
you
right.
doing? How you been? How you doing?
Good, good. I thought it was going to be slow after this quarantine, but it's pretty busy, so it's exciting.
Nice,
It's
nice,
good.
nice. Yeah. Interesting topic that we have, to you, thank you for, sharing your knowledge and your new system that you are been using for quite some time. And yeah, we can start anytime you like.
Cool. All right. All right. So hi, everyone. Thank you for being here attending the presentation. I know it's a hot topic, and I'm really excited to show you this system because I've been in the all-on-4 industry for 16 years now. I worked 12 years for the Malo Clinic, first in Lisbon in Portugal, and then here in the United States. And then the last 4 years for myself, I have my own business. And during all this time, there was not much change with the conversion process, a few tweaks or different materials, but nothing exciting worth of implementing, at least for my business. Until last year, one of the doctors in my study club, Dr. Anthony Salustio, he's a prosthodontist here in New Jersey, he was testing the prototypes for the system and told me about it. I saw one of his surgeries, and after that, I've been using it ever since. I can't, at least. Very interesting, very well thought, very clean. I think you'll be amazed at how well it works. So let's get into this. If you have questions, I would wait until the end of the presentation. Once you see the entire workflow, I think it will be easier to understand and maybe clarify most of the questions. So probably it's easier to wait until the end. But if there's any more questions, I can, answer. So let me share my screen. Is it good? All right. So the system is called Smart Denture Conversions. And it was developed by Dr. Brandon Kofford. He's a board-certified prosthodontist in North Carolina. And we actually had the chance to meet this past February in Chicago. And the beauty of it is that not only the speed and predictability, but also being able to maintain the structural integrity of your provisional. No more windows or big holes weaken your temporary, just like what you see in the picture, a clean screw access. Funny thing, I had this saved on my phone from the very early stages of development of the system. I didn't know back then, but it was posted on Facebook, and I think Sander screenshotted and texted to me. And although Dr. Farley explains in very detail how everything works, my eyes went straight to those tiny gold tie bases. No grooves, very short. I remember texting back, look at those tie bases. No way, that's not going to pick up. And unfortunately, I ignored everything else, mainly those screws that are the magic component of the system. But our path crossed again when Dr. Salustio brought it up. So how does it work? If you had the chance to see my presentation about conversions back in April, the workflow is somewhat like this. You have your implants and abutments are in. You index the denture with blue mousse, place your cylinders, drill through to allow the denture to sit passively through the cylinders, and you do your pickup. And your temporary should look something like this. But what if you could have a much more clean and functional occlusal surface just like that, and in less time than your traditional conversion? And that's what the system is all about. So I have a few little videos that I use for demo. This is the most updated kit. Let me play. There's a lot of components, different size of tie bases, different type of screws, analogs, protection caps, screwdrivers, drills, extra tools for the lab. It can be overwhelming if you never heard or used the system before. So I'm breaking it breaking down one by one. Some parts are recent. When I got mine last year, it was a lot smaller. But with time, more things are added and developing to make it more user-friendly. So this is the latest kit, and I'll go over through all the parts included. So what makes this work? It's this special screw. It's called separable fastener. I just call it special screw. It's just easier. The head is made out of PEEK and the thread out of metal. And with 3 pounds of pressure, it will separate, allowing the cylinder to be picked up just like a locator housing without having to drill holes through the denture. The tie bases, there are 2 different sizes. There's 5.5 and 7.5 millimeters. At first, I was not too convinced about the size, because if you compare, that short one is almost half of the size of a temporary cylinder. It's great that they're short, so there's a lot less adjustment to do under the denture. But if the implant is deep a little bit into the gums, that short tie base might not pick up. At least that was my fear. I kept bugging, please send me only tall tie bases. I don't like the short ones. I need them to pick up. I cannot risk doing a conversion and not pick up that tie base. So they came up with this little tool, and this is one of the recent parts in the kit, and this is a modified lab analog. And what that does, another video here, you attach to your handpiece, and in low speed, you can pre-coat your tie base with acrylic before the pickup. So even if you're using short ones, there's no problems of not picking up in the denture because it's already pre-coated. So pretty simple and easy process to do before your surgery. The parts come assembled together in a group of 6, so good for an all-in-6 case. And you can see there's the final screw is attached to your analog, and then the tie base and the separable fastener that holds everything together. Another tool in the kit is this special torque driver. And this is only used to set the tie bases on the abutments without tightening or over torquing them. Because if you tie too much, the separable fastener will separate, and you only want it to separate after your pickup, not before. So if you separate them before your pickup, you have to put them back again. And the good thing is that you can't. If the parts separate before your actual pickup, there's a way to put it back together. I don't have the video here, but there's a bunch of videos online that I can recommend to watch later. I have another video here. You can also get this all-in-4 model and denture to practice before an actual surgery. So you're comfortable with all the parts and know what to expect. As you can see, I'm using that driver to screw my tie bases. And the video is sped up a little bit, so hopefully I don't talk as fast as the video or slower. But you can see there's no tightening of the screws. It gets to a point that the driver just keeps rotating. It's just enough to sit them in the abutment, because once it gets to that point, it keeps spinning. It doesn't torque them because we don't want the parts to separate. But how are we sure that we're tightening those tie bases? We go with the regular driver after, right now. And what you do, you back it up half a turn, and you feel the resistance. You back it up half a turn, and you feel the resistance. Once you do a couple of cases, you get used to it, and you don't even need to use that special torque driver anymore. But at the beginning, it's recommendable that you use so you can feel the tightening of the screw. It's a bit technique sensitive, but that's the thing. Once you do a couple, then you'll be able to feel that right away. For indexing the denture, this part is all the same, just like a traditional denture, traditional conversion. So you use your blue mousse, and this is a neat trick that I learned from Dr. Kofford. If you use your Teflon tape right on top of it, you don't actually need to wait until the blue mousse fully sets. It's literally just like that, in and out. Then you check for interferences. You make sure your tie bases are passive for the pickup and ready for your next step. Just like regular conversion. There's nothing much that changes here. You're just using different tie bases and different screws, but everything until this point is the same. It's just, I thought this was neat because I had no idea about that little trick about the Teflon types. So it's good when we're rushing. Even if we're using super fast blue mousse, sometimes it still takes forever. So this is nice to use because it's literally in and out, it's set. Pick a process. And again, we have the denture that fits passively on the model. Notice there's no holes on the denture. In this case, I'm using UV gel from Vocal. It's self-cured acrylic. And you can see, it's just like picking up a locator. You inject acrylic all around inside the denture, good amount, and then directly over the tie bases and screws. Notice there's no protection here. The first time you wonder if it will ever come out, but it does. And that's why, again, I recommend you get that model so you can practice at least one time so you can know what you expect. And of course, this is a demo model. The mouth is not this easy, but it should be something like that. You let it set. This is 5 minutes, so it gives you some working time, at least this material. And then here I am removing the excess just because it's the model. Keep in mind, in an actual case, you wouldn't remove it. Well, maybe in the buccal side, but make sure you keep it in occlusion to avoid changes in the blade and vertical dimensions. So definitely not on the label like I'm showing, but like I said, this is just for demo purposes. So I am just removing extra. Let it cure, 5 minutes, and we move to the next one. All right, the removal. This is the scary part, but do not say that in front of your patient because I did on my very first case and the patient panicked. So let me play. The acrylic is cured. Notice there's no holes on the denture yet. Stone model, again, is a bit different than the mouth. You won't be able to just rotate the patient's head just like that. But I'm not the one doing the removal anyway. But use the back of the spatula as far as you can go in the flange and lift up. And it pops up just like that. So each of those separable fasteners, they hold 3 pounds of pressure. So we have 4 implants, so it's 3 pounds times 4. So that is 12 pounds of pressure. So the more implants you have, the more resistance you're going to feel at this step. So keep that in mind. In the model, it kind of seems easy, but in the mouth it's slightly different, the way that you access and you pop it up. But I do have some videos showing that. So we pop the denture. Right now, we saw that the only change is the screw and the tie base. They are different from the regular conversion, but then we pop it out. So what makes it interesting is now that the screws separate. So we can see that the screw head separate from the metal thread, and the metal thread stayed inside your multi-unit abutment, and the peak inside your tie base. In a closer view, here is the metal thread and the little pick head inside your tie base. So how do we proceed and we remove these parts? Let's start with the metal threads on your abutments. There's 2 ways of removing them. There's this retrieval tool, and this will engage to the metal thread directly on the abutment, and in reverse, it will remove them directly from the implants. Or another addition, recent, because I just got this, I didn't have a chance to try them, but these protective caps, you press over the post, and not only protects the tissue to close in the abutments while you're finishing up, but also it's easy to unscrew by hand once you're done with the case. So a little bit user-friendly, let's say, a lot faster, a little bit faster than using that retrieval tool. But you can use one or the other. It's just an addition to the kit. Going back to the denture, while the pick head is still inside those tie bases, we didn't open the holes or anything. We popped the denture, we took the threads, or the doctor took the threads out of the abutments, and we got the denture back to the lab to finish the conversion. So there's this protection caps for the cylinders. They attach the same way by pressure, and they're great to work on the intaglio without damaging the cylinder. So you just pop them in there, you cut all your flanges, you clean your intaglio, and you're good to go to open your access holes. Please note that this was only for presentation purpose. So in an actual case, those posterior flanges should not exist. They should be cut and those cantilevers removed. So I just took the picture before removing those flanges. So keep in mind, if this is an actual case, that shouldn't be there. So how do we open the screw access? How do we go from here to here? We have a set of 3 bars. It's called the pilot drill, the guided drill, and the clearance drill. It's just different size drills. So the pilot drill is this very thin little one that it goes from the tie base all the way to the occlusal surface and marks the spot of your screw axis. So this is the first thing that you see once you use that bar from the tie base up to the occlusal to mark your spot. Then we use the guided drill. Guided drill, you can't see very well in the picture, but the tip is the same diameter as the pilot drill, but I'm right here, about 6 millimeters down the shoulder, it expands to the screw channel to clear the path all the way through the base to your cylinder. So the very beginning of the tip, those 6 millimeters is very thin, just like that, to go from that spot. And once it reaches the shoulder, you will open the clear and clear the axis all the way through to your tie base. And then we have the clearance drill that engages in the peak head material that is still at the very bottom of your tie base and removes it, clearing out the axis completely. So you can see most of the times it's just come engaged on the drill, on the tip of that drill. I have another video just showing you how the drills work. So we're using the pilot drill. You can see I'm going from the tie base all the way to the occlusal, marking the spot. The speed is speed up a little bit, so you will not go this fast. You should be like at 10 RPM, because not only can damage the cylinder, but if you create too much heat, then the acrylic might get soft and the tie base dislodge, and we don't want that. So you have to be careful, cleaning up some debris, but pretty straightforward. Then we use the guided drill. Like I said, because of that different shoulder tip diameter, you won't damage the tie bases when you are clearing out the axis all the way down. You can actually see it when you use it on the other side. You can actually see the tip coming through the tie base without damaging it, because it's a little thinner than the rest of it. And then we have the clearance drill that engaged in the peak material and removes it. There's a tool for this drill, so you can remove it by hand, but I just used the handpiece. Maybe I shouldn't, but it's a lot faster, and you can see the peak coming out of it right there. And that's it. Once you use those 3 drills, you pretty much clear your axis, and you're good to move to the next stage. That will be just finish it up, polish, and deliver. So just to recap, we went over all the parts. I hope I was not too fast, because I tend to get excited and just move along. But again, this is the latest kit. There's different kits that then you can check, but this is the one that includes everything that you can get. And that includes the denture and the all-on-4 model, so you can test it out and try your first time. These are the protection caps for your abutments that you can press on the treads, metal treads, so you can protect the abutments while we're finishing up the conversion. The tie bases, the 2 sizes of tie bases. This is the special driver. We have the retrieval tool. We have the material the complete assemble part, that is the peak. the tie base, the analog, and the screw. We have the modified lab analogs for pre-coat, the seto drills, and the protection caps, so you can clean the intaglio and protect the cylinders. So let's see some real cases. This was my very first one. That one that I said, this is the scary part in front of the patient. Poor choice of words right there. So 6 implants. So a bit more pressure needed removing this one. Remember, it's 3 pounds of pressure each separable fastener. So in this case, it's 3 times 6, a little bit more pressure that we have to do in order to pop that denture. The tie bases are in, and a good way to distinguish the tall from the short ones is that on your short ones, you can see the screw head on the tie base. So right here, you can see that does not mean, you can see there's one here, one there, and one there. So these 3 tie bases are short because I can see the head of the screw picking out, and these 3 are tall because the screw is actually inside. So this does not mean that they're not screwed properly. It just means that we use different size of tie base in this implant or abutment. So the same way, blue moves to check interferences, bite down, pick up, pop the denture out. I don't have much the sequence because there's just so much that I can record while I'm doing things. But we pop the denture out. You can see the pick head is still inside of the tie base. The metal threads still in the abutments. We remove them. We have the denture ready to convert and open the screw axis. Pilot drill, the very first one, the very thin one, marks the spot in the occlusal surface. The guided drill expands and clears the screw axis, removing peak head of the screw. Finish and deliver. So this is another one. Notice there's no peak heads showing up. So this means that they're all tall tie bases. Blue moves, we pick up, and you can see here that this number 20, the abutment orientation was not ideal, as you can see here, is coming out on the buckle. But if we had to do this the conventional way, half of this tooth would probably be destroyed. So one thing, good thing about the system is that it's a clear access through the entire surface, even though if it comes on the buckle, is still acceptable for this type of cases. This is the retrieval tool, removing that metal thread from the abutments. I have a little video, it might be small, but no. So you engage on your on the metal thread, and in reverse, it just comes out just like that, pretty easy. Another benefit of using these tie bases, if you see here, these 2 are not parallel to the other ones. I was not part of the planning on this case. I was just called for the conversion. But the good thing, the benefit about using this tie bases, because they're shorter than actually temporary cylinders, they can accommodate 70 degrees of divergency when the implants are not parallel. So not the best orientation, but still a good, clean, converted temporary based on whatever planning or inclination the doctor used for those. So one is here, one is here. Again, not the perfect spot, but this way with the kit is like just one clean screw axis instead of destroying half of your tooth trying to make your temporary cylinders fit. And to finish, which seems that I'm speeding up here, I have the videos popping the denture because I think that's the main concern with everyone using the system, that you can know how everything works, but the actually working with it, this is the main part. There's no way back. You didn't make any holes. So once you pick up that denture in those tie bases, there's no way back. You have to pop it somehow. So it's kind of be scary. Again, my poor choice of words in front of people, in front of the patient, but this is how, this is an all-on-4. And here it is. And the main concern, no matter how many you do, all 4 there, or all 5 there, or are all there, because again, you don't see them, so you have to pop them so you know they're all there. So we have another one. This was a little bit more difficult, still the same amount of implants. I guess it also depends on the angle that you're trying to pop it. It depends on the instrument they use or the spatula, but they all come out.
I also I saw I think on Facebook was a technique with from a doctor, a surgeon, that he actually sutured through the bone and to avoid that issue.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, actually, Dr. Kofford, he recommended that. I forgot the name. Osteo, some kind of suture that you can avoid that. I guess it depends also when how the surgeons suture, because if it's a nice clean suture, like you can do this very easily. If it's not that good and they're kind of spaced out, sometimes you might have problems because the material might go pull some sutures too. But you know, we didn't have a case where they didn't pop out. They have to, right? So
yes, yeah. And also just to corroborate, this implant system works with any multi-unit implants, multi-unit abutment that is compatible to the Nobel.
Yes.
Okay.
As far as I know, I only I only use Straumann and Nobel. That's what my doctors use, so I use those two most of the time. But it is compatible with any other multi-unit that relates to Nobel.
Okay, cool.
But that's it. Do you have questions? Because I feel that I just hit it up, and this is my last one. So this is actually the kit. It's online. You can smartdentureconversions.com. The price is there, the different kits available. There's a lot of videos in there too. Dr. Kofford, his information is there. He's really good at getting back at you if you have questions or if you want to inquire something. He also has I don't know if it's a website or a page or a group, I don't know, but he has videos from beginning to end, pretty much what I went through, but very detailed if there's something that I didn't cover. He also have that. And if you want to try it, we have a discount code, it's DDC, and it works in every single order. So you just use the code for future purchases, or give it to your doctors in case they want to use it and save some money there. But that is all, I think. I'm sorry, I feel that I just rushed. In 10 minutes we're done.
No, you did pretty good. I mean,
I tried to go slow, but I feel it's not, there's a few different things from the regular conversion. So there's that special screw that is the main piece. Like yes. The tie bases are good because they're shorter than regular temporary cylinders. So there's less adjustment in the denture to do. But other than that, and of course the popping and how you clear the access holes and you clean everything up, but it's just different parts. So it's not that crazy different. It's just different components that make it better, in my opinion.
Yeah,